Start with an election story right away. About 9 months ago, before Nagaland went to polls, the church in the state openly took an anti-BJP stand, urging their congregations not to vote for the BJP. Now, the Mizoram church also is following suit just ahead of state polls. It says it has issued guideline booklets asking voters to keep in mind the interests of the Christian community, questioning the BJP's call to observe Christmas Day as Good Governance Day. The church also reminded voters of the attacks on their community under the BJP government. That's a pattern that seems to be emerging, at least in the northeastern states where the Christian population is considerably higher, regarding the church's attempt to influence the electoral process. The question is, do they have an agenda, or are they trying to push? Is this overtly merely political, or is this a statement against a particular political party, which of course also is not the ideal scenario? Whether or not churches or temples or mosques for that matter should get involved and give official endorsements of a political party, or vice versa. Let's take a look at reactions we're coming in right now. We'll be joined by our colleagues to talk about this a little more, but here are reactions first.
The Mizo Christians are very conscious in their belief and faith, so they are afraid to disrupt the societal and religious harmony. They all know that what we are facing in our country nowadays, like religious atrocities happening in the countries.
Are you hinting that religious freedom is under threat?
Yes, I believe that. One of the clear indications is that observance of Christmas Day as a Good Governance Day. Mizoram Church Leaders Committee submit a representation to the Prime Minister, tries to change the date or to withdraw the Good Governance Day. But till now, any response we received from the Prime Minister office?
Hidden agenda, so many things, but outwardly it might be called development, it might be called employment and all, no? So therefore, we try to educate our people against this, actually. And some of our very, very small pocket of our community also might, I'm afraid, embrace that kind of so-called development in the name of such and such things, no? So therefore, we try to give awareness to our people about that also.
I want that there is a free, fair and peaceful election. But right now, I feel that there is some threat in this political movement. The threat is being the religious threat, and also I feel that the secularism of India is under shake now. It is shaking now. I would ask all the people to vote consciously.
The secularism of India is under threat now. I believe it is shaking now. Those were the words. Tamal Saha joins us. He interviewed all those gentlemen and members of the church. Also Aditya Narayanan joining us from the newsroom. Tamal, first to you. It seems to be a very clear, open, overt political message. The church and politics really have very deep relations, but traditionally not in this country. This is a recent pattern now. It's an all-out diktat to all their parishioners that they should vote out the BJP for various reasons listed by the church.
Well, I thought the church has maintained a politically correct stand. That is, they have not really asked people not to vote for BJP, quote unquote. But at the same time, the church has made it very clear about its aversion towards that party. Now, what makes them apprehensive? They are saying that the BJP is now contesting on 39 seats out of 40, and they are also apprehensive about the fact that there had been certain pockets in Mizoram where conversions had happened in the past, and people have been converted from Christianity to Hinduism, and thus these people fear that with BJP, RSS might find a better entry into the state and there could be more such activities. Having said so, they are also saying that there are reasons to be wary about BJP. Why? The Good Governance Day, which the government had planned to observe on 25th of December, which also saw a lot of resistance coming in from the Christian community, the Mizoram Church Leaders Committee, a very powerful body, had represented themselves and sent 3 letters to the Prime Minister. Now, from 2014, once again in 2015, and the latest one was in 2016. Now, they are saying that all these letters have been received by the Prime Minister's office, but there had been no response. That's one. Second of all, Amit Shah was in Mizoram very recently for election campaign, and where he was very confident about a BJP's victory or BJP coming to government. And Amit Shah apparently, while concluding his speech, had said that the Mizoram this Christmas would be observing or celebrating Christmas under the BJP government. Maybe he tried to mean that BJP is coming to power,
it's
and
interesting
Mizoram would see a new government as they
the
celebrate
BJP has
Christmas.
had run-ins
But
really
then
with
the
the
church
church
leaders
per se before. As you mentioned, in Nagaland, there was this case in Delhi as well, where a reverend had written out to his parishioners. Let's go back to Aditi for a bit. Aditi, the BJP, of course, has potential alliance partners. The MNF, of course, is still pretty much in talks, perhaps for a post-poll alliance. But this, yet another instance now of the church coming forth and making their aversion, as Tamal called it, to the BJP were quite well known. The BJP, of course, would not really like this because they have made gains, especially in the northeast, especially in communities where Christians are in number. They wouldn't really like this overt pushback from the church there.
Well, the BJP clearly has had an experience of having a church veto when we saw the elections taking place in Meghalaya and in Nagaland, where there were strict directives that were sent out and messages sent out by priests saying that people should not come out and vote for the BJP because they will be indulging in conversions once the elections are won by the BJP. So in that regard, this isn't something very new. But the fact, Athar, that this issue regarding the apprehension that the Christian community has or the churches have against the BJP is now trickling down to other states as well. As you pointed out, in the national capital also we have seen advisories being sent out during the Karnataka Assembly elections. Also, a lot of priests had come out and sent out the larger message to the people that they should not come out and vote for the BJP. So in that regard, the BJP literally is used to having such an opposition coming in from the church, but they still believe that the issues that the church has been raising is little communal in agenda, because the BJP till now in the northeast hasn't spoken about a particular community. But when the church comes out and tries to spread this fear psychosis that the BJP will be indulging in a conversion, is something that the BJP clearly is a tough battle for the BJP in the northeast specifically.
All right, Aditi, thank you for those inputs. Tamal, stay with us. We'll also introduce our guest who's joining us right now. Sangeet Ragi is a thinker and ideologue of the RSS. Royden Roach, National Coordinator of the All India Catholic Union. Royden Roach, first question to you. Should the church be getting involved in politics at all? Is that really the stated objective of the church? Isn't that perhaps crossing a line on an ideological, philosophical level?
Well, if the church is getting involved in politics, I don't see anything wrong in it. Because it's very clear, we see the Hindu priests, we see the Islamic scholars, all of them getting involved in politics nowadays. We have the Hindu priests coming out openly and supporting the BJP or supporting any party. Even some of the Hindu priests who I know even support the Christian community. Okay, with a better mind and a better way of thinking. The same thing if a priest comes out and if he also gives his opinion and gives the other individual, he is a citizen of the country, he has all the right. The priest or the bishop has all the right as an individual person.
Don't you think it's tantamount to asking people to leverage... No, Royden, 1 second. Don't you think it's tantamount, even if the Hindu priests are doing it, on a basic level, isn't it tantamount to leveraging or asking somebody to leveraging their faith and decide politically? Isn't that a communal way of approaching things? Whether or not the BJP does it is besides the point. Why is the church doing it?
Okay, can the BJP come out and say that we are going to protect the Christians and give them all the rights. We will not interfere in what they do in their religious matters. We will not be bothered what they eat. We will not be bothered what they what are under the limitations and the guidelines under the constitution of the country.
Okay, so I see your logic now. Let me take that logic to Sangeet Ragi.
We will support them.
Okay, I see your logic.
We will very much support the BJP.
Okay. Now, Sangeet Ragi, what Royden seems to be suggesting here is that if the BJP, and again, I go back to what Tamal Saha, my colleague, was told by a certain reverend of the church there. He said secularism is under threat, secularism of India is shaking, and he tried to blame it on the BJP, saying they are the ones who are communalizing everything. So Royden Roach is saying this is a response. This is not an action, this is a reaction.
Look, secularism for the church means the church should be allowed to convert the population into Christianity. Church has been pursuing the agenda of
Sangeet Ragi, I'll have to stop you for a second. We need to correct your audio line. I'll come back to you, I promise, and just give me a couple of seconds to rectify this. I'll come right back to you in the meantime. Let's go back to Tamal Saha. And just to corroborate, Tamal, what we saw in your report, in your dispatch from the ground in the state, these people are using, again, three large points, suggesting that religious freedom is under threat, freedom of speech is under threat, and secularism is under threat. Now, these three comments, narratives or charges, the BJP, of course, it's anathema to the BJP, to the new BJP. They say, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That's not going to go down well. And you mentioned Amit Shah was in Mizoram as well. So he must have flagged off and he must have seen this coming, because there is a mood on the ground apparently.
Well, Arthur, to give you a sense of Mizoram, I've been there, I've stayed there for such a long time. Now, it's absolutely a Christian society. Now, in a Christian society, every Sunday when they go for prayers, after Mass, there are congregations where informal conversation happens. What I'm given to understand by my sources, there had been meetings, and in those meetings, it was decided or it was discussed as how the politics of Mizoram should look like. Now, they are also pretty much unhappy with the NIDA formation and also political parties like MNF aligning with
Tamal,
that.
We'll revisit this story in just a bit. We have to stop you for a second here. We need to take a short breather, commercial arrangements, so we'll come right back. Thank you for joining us.